Good morning. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Happy Taco Tuesday. It's also National Margarita Day. It's also
Whoa.
2/22/22 on a Tuesday. Come on now.
Whoa.
Crazy?
Too fast, too furious?
Too fast, too furious.
Like
Happy Tuesday,
it's the
Jared.
2
How are
days?
you?
So that means we should
Isn't it
have
crazy?
I mean I didn't even realize that. You're right.
Yeah.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
And
That's
it's
that's
Tuesday. And
freaking
it's
weird,
Tuesday.
man.
Yeah. And
Some
it's
weird
Tuesday.
shit's gonna go down today.
And it's National Margarita Day. So that's when you know that
That's
it's going to be a
neither
good
here
day.
nor there.
Yes. First of all, how are you? How was your President's Day? We didn't have a show yesterday. Was it good?
It was good. I celebrated by waving this flag.
Love that for you.
Yeah, I was like sitting out on my back. No, I wasn't really waving the flag. It just sits there for decoration on my desk. What did I do yesterday? I had a really good workout. I got a new Peloton, which is really exciting.
Love
I
that.
went food shopping. I had like the most productive off day that you could possibly have. I got hooked on a couple of really tough beats in college hoops last night. Arizona State blew a cover late. Loyola Chicago blew a cover late, but it was a winning night. I had a really good look on the Canadians Leafs game. I bet the Habs +2, and the books keep giving us these 2.5 puck lines, and if they keep giving us them, I'm gonna probably keep betting them because to me, these favorites, they're priced ridiculously this year,
Yeah,
and there's a
crazy.
bunch of them tonight. But it was a good night. How was your evening in South Florida?
Yeah, it was great. We went to the beach all day, which was amazing. And then all of a sudden, these bugs come out of like nowhere. Apparently, they're called love bugs,
Cicadas?
and they hatched. And they literally swarmed, and it was like a mass exodus from the beach. I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy.
It's like
First, we
it
thought it
sounds
was us.
like the apocalypse.
It was crazy. First, we thought it was just us. We're like, "Oh, like, do we smell? Like, what's going on?" And then all of a sudden, we just see everyone either darting for the water or like darting up the boardwalk, like off of the beach.
That's
It was
awful.
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. So that was a crazy fun thing. And then we went to dinner and it was nice. And yeah, it was a good day, a good Monday. But now we're
Okay.
moving on to Tuesday. Look at
Now
your
we're moving
face
on.
is frozen like.
Well, it's like that. As someone who grew up down in South Florida, like that's not something I've ever experienced in my
Yeah,
entire
the
life.
bugs, they didn't bite. They were just like there.
I
Like
don't like
swarming.
usually it's like large reptiles that I used to deal with, like snakes and gators and stuff. That's
Yeah.
like locust. That's like plague
Oh, it was
level.
like it felt like a plague for a second. We were kind
Weird.
of freaking out.
I'm
It was
glad you
weird.
made it through.
Yeah, we made it out alive, and I'm here
There
to
you
tell
go.
the story. So you know what? It was a good
I
day.
hope nobody
It was a good day.
screenshotted my face like that and is going to use that as fodder
Like you were
against.
truly like this for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was I did. It was frozen for a while. I just saw it on the stream because I have the stream up on my other screen, and it looked it looked very unflattering. Oh, great!
Social
Jack
media is
just
already on
social
it, Jack
media already
says, yeah.
screenshotted it. That's how I felt last night when Arizona State turned it over with 30 seconds left and gave up a wide open dunk to go from being down 12 to down
Live look
14,
at Jared's
and I
face.
lost my 13.5. Totally meaningless dunk. Thank you very much, Sun Devil.
Oh man. Also speaking of screenshotting and posting on social media, maybe not necessarily screenshotting, but Aaron Rodgers posting
Oh,
Instagram post yesterday, basically saying, I'm grateful for Shailene Woodley. I'm grateful for my quarterbacks, grateful for my coaches, grateful for my team. We need to say what we're grateful for. Like, is it happening? Is it happening? Then David Bakhtiari, did I say his name right? Bakhtiari posted a thing on Twitter and said, oh shit, here we go again. So what do you think that this cryptic Instagram from Aaron Rodgers means?
So have you ever been up late reminiscing about your ex and you fire off some social media nuggets about said ex? We've all been there.
You try to control what's out of your control, it'll control you. That was my
like I thought it was interesting that he put the part about his ex-fiance in there too. That right?
At the top. Right off the top.
Like because to me that's kind of a cross-pollination thing. You know, there's a big football decision looming, and we're all worried about what team he's going to play for, et cetera, et cetera. And that was a big part of that Instagram. I guess we'll call it a monologue. I don't know, where it basically was an epilogue. It was like it was a novel. And then on the other side, right off the top, the lead was about his romantic life. So it leads me to believe that those two things are connected in a way. The fiance breakup, which then maybe there was some underlying things that went on about the Packers and all. I don't know. We've discussed Aaron Rodgers' psyche before and how he's got some demons. He's got some inner demons.
There's some stuff going on. That's all we got to say about
that. And other things in his past. And I think he's got some shit to work out. And I don't know what that post really means. Maybe we'll find out later. But man, oh man, that was let the speculation begin. That's kind of how I felt about it. I don't know what to make of it, but I think we'll find out some answers hopefully soon.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, hey, I'm leaving. It was just, hey, I'm grateful for all of this stuff. So,
it was very cryptic. It was very emo, 18 years old. You're doing an AIM away message. Remember your AIM away messages when you were like a teenager?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's just taking it back to the 90s. It's fine. No worries. But yeah, it was very cryptic. For everyone that hasn't seen it, go check it out on Aaron Rodgers' Instagram. Quick plug for Aaron Rodgers' Instagram page. But very interesting. We'll see, I guess, how things transpire over the next couple of weeks. But today we got a good show for you. NHL Ice Picks. There's 6 games on the slate tonight. I got what I think is a steamy pick for you. We're breaking down some NHL futures as well. And then we have Jim Root coming on, talk about college basketball. 3 big games tonight. Then we're also doing some dumpster dive in there. Take it across the pond. Jared's kick picks. He has a good one for you. And then we can't end without our 3-star play of the day and our best bets of the day. So let's get right into it. Let's bet it. NHL. Let's start off with some futures, Jared, because I know that you have a unit, half unit, quarter unit on a couple of teams that you're looking at in the NHL right now. Let's start with the Panthers right now because they've been flying high recently.
Yeah, so I think when you look at this Panthers team, so I have been, if you've been watching this show, you know that we're obsessed with the Ice Cats. That's not a secret at this point. Yes. If you've been following along with, I have a spreadsheet that I post a lot of futures bets. We've been tweeting about it too. Slowly investing in the Panthers throughout the season. Currently, I have 3/4 of a unit already at 10-1 on the Panthers. That was already set.
Nice.
Last night, I kind of got into, investment mode, and I put another quarter unit on the Panthers at 8-1. So our total investment on the Panthers now is 1 full unit at around plus 950, plus 975. Because, you take the 10-1s and then you add in the 8-1s and you average them together and you get around plus 960-ish. I don't know what the math is. I haven't really calculated it, but it's around that price. The Hurricanes, another team that I am very high on. I already had a quarter unit invested on them at 16-1. I added another quarter unit last night at 12-1. So our total investment on the Hurricanes now is a half unit at 14-1. That math is much easier. Quarter unit at 16, quarter unit at 12. You average them together, you get 14. The Hurricanes. So
is that how math works, Jared? That's how math works? Thank you.
How math works. Thank you, Lauren, for putting me back in my place there. The reason why Carolina is very intriguing to me is they are going to be the number 1 seed in their respective division. So I'm trying to put together a futures portfolio where I have the Hurricanes on one side of the bracket, the Panthers on the other side of the bracket, and hopefully they meet in the Eastern Conference Final. I think those are the 2 best teams in the East right now. That's eye test says that. Do you think those are the 2 best teams in the East right now, Carolina and Florida?
I honestly think so, 100%. I mean, the Rangers are looking pretty good too recently.
They are.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay has been pretty good recently. But for me, honestly, and the teams that have been winning me a lot of money this season are the Ice Cats and the Hurricanes. So those are the teams that I'm riding out, and I actually really like this. With the Flames, that's a team that people are jumping on right now. Like in the West, you're looking at the West. Obviously, the Avs are number 1. They only have 9 losses in regulation on the season, which is pretty incredible. They had a win streak of 18 straight home games, which is also extremely incredible. But there's just not enough value there necessarily to bet them in the futures market. But you look at a team like the Flames, who are streaking at the right time. Speaking of, they're hot, red hot, fiery hot, flamey hot.
10 in a row.
Yeah, 10 in a row. They're figuring it out at the right time, Jared, and I know you're in on their future too.
20-1. Half unit initial investment at 20-1 for Calgary to win the Stanley Cup. It looks like if this streak continues, they will be the number 1 seed in their respective division. The Avs still the best record in the league, frankly, and they're going to be the number 1 seed in the entire Western Conference playoff picture. But Calgary right now has a 4-point lead over Vegas in their division. They are 2 games in hand as well. So Vegas has played 2 more games than Calgary. So it's looking like it's going to be tough for Vegas with about 31 games left to overcome Calgary. Maybe they can. But if these teams continue on the path that they're on currently, Calgary red hot, Vegas kind of, up and down, but they've had their moments too. I expect Calgary to be that other number 1 seed, which means if it's a Western Conference final, Rado and Calgary, the Avs would get home ice, which is important. And that's why certainly they are favorites. So the hockey people that I talk to every day take nothing away from the Colorado Avalanche. They are an amazingly talented team. But everyone I talk to says that in the playoffs, they don't know if their style fits the grind of a postseason series. 7 games. I mean,
we've seen that the last 3 years. They got knocked out in the second round, right?
They have issues in those types of series where they have to grind out games. Their offense is high flying. They're all over the place. But in the playoffs, things tighten up. And the Flames are a little more suited for that style, I think. That's what I'm hearing. And at 20-1, the price matches that as well. And they're the number 1 team in all the analytical rankings right now based off of what I see on Money Puck. And I think at 20-1, it's a really good price. I don't think it's going to be there long either.
Yeah, honestly. But I will push back a little bit on the Colorado Avalanche thing because last year
they
didn't have Nazem Kadri for 6 games. He was suspended for 6 games. So they didn't have him the whole second round. And I think that would have made the difference for them in that second round. And the year before that, what happened the year before that? Game 7. But then the year before that, it was Gabe Landeskog. They called like an offsides, and it wasn't necessarily offsides. And there was like so much pushback about it. And they called back a goal. It was like a whole thing. So they've just kind of gotten unlucky in the second round the last 3 years. I do think that they're going to make it really far this season. For me,
they're going to make it to the Western Conference final, and they're going to lose to Calgary in 7 games.
Can Darcy Kemper be good enough to get them to the Stanley Cup?
Markstrom's been great for Calgary. He's been really good.
All that matters is the goaltending because the Avs have the depth to be able to get there.
Absolutely.
And I think if all of their guys stay healthy. Oh, yeah, the year before that, both of their goaltenders went out. They were playing a third-string goaltender in the second round. So it's just like there's just been a lot of bad luck for the Avs. I will say I think they can grind it out. I have watched them the last 3 years, like up close and personal. And so I really like their style of hockey. It's just can they stay healthy and can their goaltending hold up? That's the biggest question for them.
We're not going to be friends during the conference final if it's Avs Flames. We're going to be up against each other.
Yeah, it's going to be big. Well, maybe have another swag bet or something. Let's get into your Isles Kraken bet tonight because my hockey bet is my best bet of the day. So I'm going to save it for the end of the show. Just make everyone wait. But it is
a hockey bet tonight that I'll give out really quick before we bring Jim Root on because College Hoops needs its attention today. I just bet the Isles Kraken under 5.5. It's a little juicy. That's why I'm not going to give it out for POD. It's like minus 135 at MGM. I'm seeing some steam here. It's down to 5 in some spots. My guess is it closes at 5 across the board. So if you want to get in now, if you're not interested in sweating out an under with me at midnight Eastern, totally understand that. But officially, for the record, I am on the Isles Kraken under 5.5 tonight at minus 135. Have fun.
Nice. Have fun, boys. Have fun, friends.
I think the Isles are kind of done. I think they're kind of cooked, and the Kraken are on the second of a back-to-back, and they didn't score a ton last night. So I could see that. I could see this being a little more of a slower-paced game.
I have a good bet coming up at the end of the show. It is the Preds-Panthers game, but you're going to have to wait. I'm going to make you hold on until the end of the show. But until then, let's bring on Jim Root for some college basketball. He's an analyst of threemanweave.com and the Field of 68 podcast. Jim,
there he is.
He's back at home. He has his Mizzou flag behind him, and I love it. Flying high. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, the flag's upside down right now. Not pleased with them, but, we'll see. This is the game they compete in normally tonight, Jared. It's probably not a game we need to dwell on, but.
No. I looked at it for like a hot minute, and I was like, Jim's probably going to not want to talk about this one because Rick Barnes and company might run into town and just go crazy after that loss the other day.
Yeah. They've also got the look ahead to Auburn, so maybe Tennessee's.
That's
interesting.
That's interesting.
I want to start this out before we get into some of the basketball picks. The whole Juwan Howard, Greg Gard altercation with Michigan, now suspended 5 games. Obviously, it's my alma mater. I had Wisconsin in that game, though. I faded my alma mater. Just your thoughts on that whole situation, because that's just wild.
Yeah, it's not great. You can't escalate the situation the way Howard did. I mean, even if there was, some of the other stuff going on, I get it. Like, people are not happy with Gard for kind of getting in his way as he wanted to give him the blow by, which is like very much a thing in coaching and handshakes. They want to express their displeasure by just zipping right by, and Gard didn't want to have that. I think he wanted to like de-escalate. He thought he was
wanted to smooth things over, but he got a little too fiery about it.
Yep. And I understand the idea that like maybe he should have done that after the press conferences, giving Juwan a call and just kind of let the emotions simmer down after that. But the biggest bummer for me is that Michigan is playing for its tournament lives right now. And now 2 players are suspended in the next game. And it's Rutgers. And Rutgers is playing like a top team in the country right now. So they don't have Diabate coming out next game, basically because some coaches, some guys that are supposed to be the ones setting the example, couldn't really contain themselves, and then suddenly the players got involved. So I like that the player suspensions were only a game, whereas Juwan's was 5, a lot longer, kind of like it actually punishes the person who is most responsible for taking it to where it was. Yeah. Whereas the other guys are more victims of circumstance and just got involved because of what they saw, and they were trying to protect people that they cared about. So it's a bummer. Michigan's got to try to bounce back without Juwan Howard, but fortunately they have a really, really good associate head coach that's taking over now, and they're in good hands with Phil Martelli.
Yeah, really good. Been to the Final
Juwan
Four,
Howard
right?
now suspended the rest of the regular season. It's just so crazy. It's crazy.
Yes.
So we're going to see, I guess, how they do down the stretch. Jared, what are your thoughts on the situation? We haven't even chatted about it either.
I just think after the fact that both coaches should have taken a lot more accountability for the situation. They both went into the press conferences after 10, 15 minutes, cooled off, and they both pointed fingers at each other. I posted this meme yesterday. Accountability is not saying what you meant to do, or I didn't, that wasn't my intention. Like, you did, like, you threw a punch. Like, he didn't, like, Juwan didn't even like own up to the fact afterwards that he threw a punch at an assistant coach. Like, he made it like, oh, but he was doing this and he was doing this. You are leading men. You are trying to make boys to men, right? That's our joke all the time. You're trying to mentor 18-year-old kids to become better people. Take accountability for your actions. The next day, he posted a statement that I'm sure was handwritten by some PR guy in the Wolverine.
Yeah, but not by him, probably.
Yeah, not by him. And, better late than never, but very insincere to do it in written form and not to have the humility after the game to be like, I shouldn't have threw that punch. That was on me. I'm setting a bad example for the kids. I hope everyone can understand it was a heated situation. I'm sorry for doing it. But I did it. Like, I threw a punch at an assistant coach, and then he blamed it on, I was trying to protect myself. Like that. Take accountability. You're trying to mentor 18 to 22-year-old kids. Accountability. We have no accountability in college basketball or in sports sometimes. Yeah. And that bothers me more than the actual punch itself, because I understand things get heated, but after the fact, you have to own up to what you did. And I don't think there was any accountability in that situation at all.
Yeah, you can't make it sound okay that what
exactly. He made it sound like he was protecting himself, like it was self-defense. Yeah. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, Gard should have done the same thing. He wasn't as 100%. Responsible. He didn't throw a punch, but he should have apologized and said that shouldn't have happened. I am sorry to all basketball fans for the fact that it got to that level. And they both just didn't want to admit fault.
They're trying to protect their asses. And at the end of the day, they dig the hole deeper, at least into the eyes of the court of public opinion, I think.
Yep.
Totally. No, I totally agree with both of you guys. It's just a crazy situation. Here's the thing, why, you're a grown man. Why are you throwing a punch? I get emotions.
There was no need for that. But listen, I don't want to point blame on either side. I just think after the fact, there should have been more accountability taken for
1,000%. Accountability, number one thing. So now getting more into basketball, I guess. We look at most conferences, the regular season champion odds have heavy favorites as of right now. Jim, are there any, teams that you're eyeing at plus money to take them for their futures as of right now?
So looking at the schedules, I couldn't quite talk myself into any. Maybe the Big Ten is where you could get a little bit adventurous for some of the bigger conferences. The one I was looking at,
Mhm.
I was surprised that FanDuel had odds. Is that Ohio is plus 280 to win the MAC right now.
Love it.
They're
Wow.
tied with Toledo, and they got swept by Toledo, so they don't have the tie break. So you need
Yeah.
you need Ohio to win out, and you need Toledo to drop one. Ohio's schedule's pretty soft, whereas Toledo's got to go to Buffalo, who I
Yeah,
actually
that's a
think
tough
is,
game.
and Buffalo's playing a lot better lately. They were one of the favorites in the preseason. They're the most athletic team in the conference, like bar none. So I think with the way they're trending, that's a tough game for Toledo. Ohio's just got to win out against a reasonably manageable schedule. Akron's the only real tough one on there.
Yeah.
I think plus 280 is pretty good value just for that little 4-game stretch for each team. There's some juice on that one.
That I would say here's how I would play it. I would bet the Ohio plus 280. And then when Toledo goes to Buffalo, the KenPom has them as a 2-point dog in that game. I would bet Toledo money line at plus money, likely. And then you either way, if Toledo wins that game, they're probably going to win the MAC. You win your plus money line, or Ohio wins out, and you know that's a good way to kind of hedge that. So that I like that a lot, actually. Plus 280. That's a pretty juicy price on the Bobcats. We'll get back to them a little later too.
And the Bobcats. The good old Bobcats. Let's take it to Michigan State taking on Iowa today. In Iowa, Michigan State lost the last game to Illinois at home. Iowa coming off a big road win at Ohio State. The spread right now is 6, Jim. This just seems really high. Don't you think?
Felt high to me. Just initial looking at this, like, whoa, Iowa, these two teams I view as pretty equal. Michigan State had a great start to the year, haven't been as good lately, but man, 6 points, 7 points on the opener, that was too much. I think this should be around 3.5 or 4.
Yeah.
So I kind of endorse Michigan State here. I think they get a little bit of a bounce back effort. They were so feisty in that second half against Illinois. They got a great Tyson Walker performance. I think Michigan State is the side there.
You're right. I'm seeing 5s, 5.5s. MGM just popped up 5.5. Caesars 5.5. Looks like it's 6 painted across the board everywhere else. So yeah, that seems like the steamy side. The Must Bus rolling into Gainesville tonight. I love this game. This game is a fascinating handicap because Florida's coming off of that huge win over Auburn. I think Arkansas's defense has the edge here. So prior to that win over Auburn, Florida lost 2 straight, and they scored 55 and 57 against Kentucky and A&M. And Arkansas, to me, plays that really just suffocating style of defense. And this is just a classic letdown spot. I'm a little surprised that we've seen a little steam on the Gators this morning. It was Arkansas was favored almost 1.5, and now it's kind of back to a pick 'em. I want to bet Arkansas just because of the situation, but I think the under is the better spot. Jim, what do you think about this game tonight?
Yeah, because you could kind of play the letdown a little bit on both sides. Arkansas had a nice emotional home win against Tennessee. Now they're on the road. I also pretty much thought, road Arkansas, not a good bet, but they're 5-2 this year against the spread, which genuinely shocked me. That's it's good to have numbers to actually refute your opinion sometimes. So yeah, the spot I could see trying to go that way, but I think since it's kind of a letdown for both, they're both coming off that big win, they're both better defensively than they are offensively. The under was kind of what jumped out to me in that game for sure.
Love it. Yeah, I got 136.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this game. The Razorbacks are as hot as any college basketball team right now. They've covered the spread in 8 straight games, won 11 of the 12 of their last games. And I think that, Jared, what you were saying about their defense sets them well being on the road in a road atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Like they're streaking at the right time. I don't know. I just think it sets them up well. I kind of like Arkansas laying the points here in this game. I know it's kind of a pick 'em game, but you look at Florida, I know they're on a 6-game home winning streak. They are sitting outside the top 200 in effective field goal percentage. They're also ranked 317th from the perimeter and 223rd in turnover rate. Arkansas's defense is 12th in adjusted efficiency. I just think their defense is going to carry them home here.
I agree.
And I like the million points in this spot.
I would
another big game
in this spot. I would either bet Arkansas.
How do you emotionally recover from that last win that they had? How do you emotionally recover and come in and be like, okay, we have to lock in and play well in this game? You just don't. You come in and it's a huge letdown spot, don't you think, Jim?
Yeah. And Mike White coached teams at Florida the last 4 or 5 years have been really up and down. Just when you think you have them like, oh, they're playing well, I'll ride this wave. Then they lay a stinker, and this sets up where a spot it could be a stinker for them.
I've got a new metric for you, Jim. I want to know records after court storms. That's we got to go back in the archives. We're going to watch all the games and see where the court stormings happen. The record of your manual labor,
but yeah.
It might just take
Are you
a
gonna
little
look
bit
that
of
up
time,
for
right?
us, Jared? You're gonna deep dive and look that up for us?
No, it sounds like he's delegating it to me, is what's going on here.
Yeah, that's a project for Jim. He's gonna throw that on your plate.
Up to like 4 in the morning, like
the boss
out about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to come in on Saturday and knock this one out there, Jimbo.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh man. Another big game going on tonight. Villanova, number 8 in the country, taking on number 21 ranked UConn. UConn getting a second crack at Nova after getting hammered in the first game. Jim, what are you expecting here?
It's hard for me to look at this game completely from an objective lens because I have a rather large Villanova to win the Big East position from the preseason. So I need them to win for that. Yeah, if they win out, they win, but it's still dicey with Providence lurking. This one. The Friars, man. There's a question in the chat about Providence. I think they're good. I think the fact that Jared Bynum is making threes now is making them more legit than I expected. But Villanova is still the better team in the Big East. Now in this game, they showed some clear matchup advantages in the first one. I thought Sonogo would be an issue inside for Villanova, and Dixon had a monster game for the Wildcats. 24 and 12. He was kind of the better post player, which for UConn that can't happen. Villanova scored 1.3 points per possession without taking more than 11 threes, which is usually their game. And Justin Moore didn't play, one of their best 2 guards. So the fact that they were able to get that done shorthanded, I think tilts the scales towards Mizzou, towards Nova. On my mind, I guess.
We're not betting Mizzou tonight. No way.
No. But UConn's taking a little bit of money, and they are favored here, which surprised me a bit. I still kind of think Villanova should be favored.
Is Colin Gillespie playing tonight? Is he playing? Because I know he was questionable. But
he and Moore seem to be healthy with their ankles.
Yeah, he's banged up a little bit. Justin Moore is going to be banged up a little bit. So 2 of their top two of their top players are maybe coming in at half health, right? Like, how does that impact it, do you think?
Yeah, they kind of had these ankle issues for like a week or 2 now. And last game they looked fine. Like it didn't seem to be affecting them anymore. But you never know. Like those kind of things can linger. UConn has the length and perimeter athleticism to pressure them and really take advantage of the fact that maybe they're a little below 100%. So that's something you got to consider. I just kind of trust Villanova more. I'm guessing it's going to be a close game. I like them to get better shots late. You kind of don't trust as much in a late game crunch time scenario. So I'm leaning towards the Wildcats there.
Love it. Do you want to talk a little bit about the MAC, or do you want to go to your other games? Right? Actually, no, here you go. We'll go to the Texas Tech game against Oklahoma. Because I actually just saw Caesars pop up a 9.5 with Texas Tech. And I bet Texas Tech last week. I know we discussed this. Final Four at 6-1. I love this Texas Tech team. It was after the win over Texas. I was pissed off because I had Texas and I thought it was a good revenge spot for them. But clearly Tech is much stronger and tougher and a little grittier right now. I love them to make a run of the Final Four. And tonight against Oklahoma, this Oklahoma team they really struggle to score. And I think they're going to struggle to score tonight against Tech.
Yeah, everybody struggles to score against Tech. And it's kind of like, you talked on the show, Jared, about sometimes just riding a team that's playing well or like a hot streak. Texas Tech's 13-3 against the spread at home. And that's just kind of like one of those angles that I'm very inclined to back. And Oklahoma just lost Elijah Harkless for the year, one of their starting wings, best perimeter defender. So you take him out of the lineup. Maybe their defense isn't as strong anymore, and they still have those same issues with scoring that you mentioned. I think Texas Tech, provided they are not just like lollygagging through this game, can suffocate Oklahoma to the tune of like 70-55 or something. I like the Red Raiders at home.
Love it.
I see you have a little undersweats going on right now with the Boise SDSU game. Tell me more about it, please, because you and Alex Glaze love the unders.
I'm getting in on these unders too.
I do like betting unders. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. But the first game between these two was maybe the ugliest game of the season. 42-37 final, like less than 80 points total.
I forgot it was
42-37.
That was a final score. No, it was. I remember it when that was like a month ago.
So the second half started, and Boise State went on a 13-1 run that took 10 minutes. So San Diego State didn't have a field goal for the first 10 minutes of the second half. And then immediately over the next 7 minutes, Aztecs went on a 13-0 run. So like both teams had stretches of not having a field goal of at least 7 minutes. There was some weird situational stuff with it, with their schedule and some COVID pauses, but I think it's more about how these teams defend versus their kind of lacking offenses. Big time edge for both defenses. We're going to see a slow game. Neither team wants to run. It's a low number that's been bet up like a point maybe. So there's some people in the market that feel the other way, but I think the first matchup was pretty indicative of how much these two struggle to score against each other. And what won't be that crazy, won't be below 80. I still think sub 120 is a good bet.
So I'm looking at that box score now. There were 21 combined field goals made in that game, in the entire game.
That's
there's
like literally one shot made. Oh yeah, one shot every 2 minutes. That's disgusting.
That's great.
Unbelievable.
That's like my kind of basketball because I suck at basketball. That's like me playing. Like, come on, that's horrible.
It's the type of game you check the score and you're like, "Is my app broken?"
Can't be right.
It hasn't moved. What's going on?
I know. I thought that the other day. I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago. The Nets were playing the Celtics, and I looked, and it was like 8 minutes into the game, and it was
it was like 28-2.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, is something going on with my app right now? Like, what is going? That's crazy. Jared, you have a little undersweats going with your Maction tonight too.
All right. I will. I felt really good about it too, because when I woke up in the morning, I got little notes from Jim in the rundown saying he likes this under, and I'm not usually an under better, especially in the MAC. In fact, CMU was an over team for me for a big part of the year, but recently they've been playing a little bit better defensively. They held their last 3 opponents to under 78. 2 of those were on the road, and one of those was a really tight 68-66 game to Toledo, who, as we've discussed prior with this MAC conference, Toledo's got the best offense in the league. Ohio, a very good offense as well, but they are much better defensively. In fact, Ohio, the second best defense in the league. I'm worried about CMU's defense because there were times, and Jim, we've discussed it, that it just looked like Olay, where they're just like letting people run by them. But again, lately they've been playing a little bit better. They just played 12 days ago, and it was 81-72. And that leads you to believe that the total should have been a little bit higher, maybe in the high 140s, but it was in the low to mid 140s. And that leads me to believe that these two teams kind of are going to figure each other out. They played less than 2 weeks ago. So 143.5 felt like a pretty fair number here. I think Ohio probably gets to 70 or 75, but I don't think CMU sniffs into the 70s at all. So to me, 143.5 seemed like a pretty decent underspot.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me here is Central Michigan's defense is no longer the joke that it was, that we kind of dunked on them repeatedly, just like everybody was dunking on them because they didn't guard anyone. Like if you cut early in the season or you like attacked with a ball screen, they just curl up in the fetal position and said, well, I guess you have a layup. We don't know how to stop this. But in conference play, their defense is actually better than their offense, which is stunning considering the splits they had early in the year, which has made them a great under team lately. And Ohio's not really going to play super fast. They might be without Jason Carter, one of their versatile bigs. So I like that under quite a bit just because of the strange trajectory we now see Central Michigan on.
I think it's play of the day worthy, Jim. What do you think?
Well, I don't want to influence you there. That's up to you.
You are, to me, when you come on the show, you're like my angel on the shoulder. Lauren's the devil on the shoulder always. And you're the...
Why?
I'm not sure I'm an angel.
Lauren's got the horns, just ready to fire away on the nice bats.
I'm the guy making you bet like 7 college basketball games.
True, actually.
I don't know if that's great.
I always bet more college basketball games.
Considered a devil or an angel, it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe you're both the devil.
Jim, one more game before we just justified. One more game that you're on before we let you go. Ball State plus 8.5. Tell us more about that one.
Yeah, staying in the MAC. This one's like purely spot, really. Kent State, their opponent, has won 8 in a row. They're basically playing perfect right now. They just beat Toledo and Ohio, the 2 powers of the MAC that we just discussed. Like they could not be playing better, and now they got to come home midweek spot against a middling Ball State team that has actually been kind of decent as an underdog. I think you get a little bit of a letdown performance from the Kent State defense, which helps Ball State. They've taken a little bit of money. This was 9.5 down to 8.5, but I still think the fact that they can hang around and catch Kent State on that kind of lull spot in their schedule, I like Ball State on the road here.
Our buddy Tim Murray loves the MAC underdogs. I think he had NIU the other day when they played Akron and they won outright, and NIU's terrible. There always seems to be a MAC underdog that barks whenever the MAC plays, which tends to be a Monday or Tuesday or Saturday-ish. So maybe this is the Ball State night.
Outside of Toledo and Ohio, like no team in this league is great as a favorite.
Agreed.
They're just too erratic. So you're kind of hunting the spot where, okay, this team is good. Kent State's been good lately, but I don't like them laying that many points coming off the schedule that they've been on.
All right, so let's do a quick recap of all the picks that you're on, Jim, because I know the people in the chat are very interested.
Give the people what they need.
Texas Tech, laying 10. The Boise San Diego State under 120.
Yep.
Ball State catching 8 and a hook. And that's it, right? Just those three.
I'll if you can find a 6 on Michigan State, I'll endorse them plus
6 on Michigan State. So 4 plays for Jim Root tonight. I'm on the under in Arkansas and Florida and the under in Ohio. What am I doing? I'm betting 2 unders tonight. Who the hell am I?
Oh, yeah.
Did I get replaced with Alex Blaze?
Yeah, you were calling me the angel, and I'm the guy that's making you bet.
Yeah, geez, both of you guys.
Warren's on Arkansas and UConn. So we've got like 7, 8 plays tonight in college hoops. Don't say we never gave you anything, Pickswise Nation.
We do the work so you don't have to, guys.
Exactly.
That's all I got to say about that. Jim Root, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be chatting a lot coming up with the stretch run. And March Madness is only like 3 weeks away. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's looming. It's certainly looming. I'm excited but nervous for the sprint that it's going to be.
Missouri's flag might be sideways by the time we get to March Madness.
On an angle.
Yeah.
Burned and in the garbage. Yeah, something like
Buried in the backyard.
Buy a new flag for next season after you burn it. Jim, thanks so much. Have a great week.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Thanks.
The Jim Root, college basketball analyst of 3manweave.com and the Field of 68 podcast. Jared, you'll love to see it. All right, before we get into Pickswise.com, 3-star play of the day, let's head overseas, get your quick kick pick. Say that 5 times fast.
Yo, it is Champions League Tuesday. Get excited. So EPL's been a roller coaster. 13 straight losses, couple of wins over the weekend to bounce back.
He's back in it, baby. Back better than ever.
Back better than ever. Champions League is a different animal. It's a little tighter. It's a little bit more, I would say, aggressive defensively, a little conservatively offensively in the first legs. We talked about this last week. These teams play twice. It's the aggregate score that advances. So the first leg, sometimes teams play a little bit on the back foot. Let's start at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea hosting Lille. We all know how good Chelsea is. English Premier League club, defending Champions League title holders. Lille, kind of an upstart, advancing into the round of 16. Nobody really expected that. They play in the French league. They're not playing very well. They've only 1 win in their last 3. They've only scored 2 goals in their last 3 league matches. Chelsea has all the firepower up top. They need a little bit more quality, though, from Romelu Lukaku, who's their top striker. He hasn't scored in a Premier League match since before the new year. They're going to get some injury help today. Mason Mount, I think, is going to play. He is a very talented player up top. So I think Mount and Lukaku have enough quality to get at least a goal or 2 for Chelsea. And on the back line, the Chelsea defense is stellar. So here's how we're going to play this. Because Chelsea in top form, they have won their last 2 league matches to 0. They've only given up over a goal in 1 league match since the new year, and that was to Liverpool. So defensively is kind of my vibe here. We're going to go Chelsea money line. It's juicy. You can't bet it straight up. But we're going to parlay it with under 3.5. Same game parlay. Chelsea money line, under 3.5. It's plus 110. That's our only bet of the day. There's one other match. Villarreal hosting Juventus. I lean under there, but it's juicy, minus 150. So I would say no. Question in the chat. Thank you. Juventus, Villarreal, both teams to score. I would say no. But I'm not playing that match. I would say 1-1 would be my guess of a final score, maybe 1-0 Villarreal. but the under 2.5 is like minus 160. So I can't play that. And I'm kind of curious how Juventus comes out because they've got some roster things going on too. They just signed a big new striker who is kind of figuring things out. So I'm laying off that match, but the Chelsea match I like.
Cool. Let's bring it back overseas to the US of A and head to Pickswise.com. What is our Pickswise 3-star play of the day? At least one of them.
Well, there is a match. I mean, a pick for the Chelsea-Lille match.
Let's hear it.
It agrees with me. It agrees with me. I will let you, Pickswise Nation, figure that one out on your own. Our buddy Kyle Vandershaw is going double tonight on the Tennessee-Missouri match, side and total. Ooh. Not match game. I'm in soccer.
Yeah, your mind's in two places. It's fine.
Yeah. And Sam Abalone agrees with our buddy Jim Root with the Oklahoma-Texas Tech game. So check it out. You got a bunch of plays on Pickswise.com.
3-star plays of the day. We're not letting you know why. You could go read why on Pickswise.
Exactly. Well, I didn't even give out the picks. Just lean. Just leaning.
Lean. Just lean, baby. All right. Our best bets of the day. I'm going to talk about mine first because you already talked about yours.
Give me yours.
I'm taking mine to the ice. The Preds taking on the Panthers, the Ice Cats. They've been my bread and butter this season. They really have. I like the Preds or the Panthers puck line, not Preds. Panthers puck line plus 114. The Preds right now trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Panthers coming off of a win against Chicago, which isn't necessarily saying much, but they're 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 7 of their last 9 straight home wins. And this game is in the beautiful Sunrise, Florida. They've been on a roll offensively, 4 more goals in 6 of the last 8 games. They're averaging 4.12 goals per game on the entire season, which is pretty incredible. They're 14th in the league right now on power play conversions. And the Preds, they're normally a good defensive team, but they're struggling right now. They've given up 4 more goals in 4 straight games. I think they're going to have a hard time slowing down the Panthers offense. And the Panthers have only given up 6 goals total in their last 3 games. The Preds are going to have a hard time scoring, and Bobrovsky is 26-4-3 on the season with a 2.51 goals against average and a 919 save percentage. Panthers, big at home. Lock it in. Puck line plus 114. I like it.
I don't hate that. The odds certainly are.
I don't hate that. So you don't love it, but you don't necessarily hate it.
No, you know how I feel about the puck lines. If you're gonna bet Panthers puck line, just lay the 2.5. Because I love those 2.5 pluses. I mean, I would say bet them both. I would say bet them both. If you are going to, I would also.
The 1.5 has a better chance of hitting. The 1.5 is a way better chance of hitting. 2.5 is a little risky
because more games have landed on 3 than 2 this year. So yeah, the odds say that 1.5 obviously has a better chance of hitting, but the data this season says more games are landing on 3 than 2. Now that doesn't mean this game's going to land on 2.
Maybe sprinkle 2.5, but I'm putting a unit
I would absolutely
on
sprinkle 2.5. If you're betting the 1.5, you should definitely also sprinkle the 2.5. You'll feel better about yourself when they win 7-2.
Not necessarily worse if they lose. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, if they lose outright, then you're on the wrong side anyways.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's your best bet of the day? Who you got?
So I went back and forth about this. So I've got a lot of work to do after this show is over because I've got to lock in all of Jim's bets that we were talking about during the show. And I will tweet out my official card later tonight with everything that I've locked in. But my play of the day, I have been very, undecided on this one today because I didn't know if I should use the Arkansas game or if I should use one of the Champions League matches. But Jim's reaction to that CMU Ohio under sealed the deal for me that it is going to be the Chips and the Bobcats not scoring points tonight. We gave the handicap Y. Bobcats are really good defensively. The Chips were not until conference play, and they've been a lot better defensively of late. They held Toledo to 68 in their last game, and Toledo's got the best offense in the conference. So I think this game's going to be tight. I think it's going to be slower paced, and I think under 143 between the Bobcats and the Chips is the play of the day. Fire up Chips, baby. And I'm betting a lot of unders tonight. I don't know what's on into me, but here we go.
You are going to have some under sweats later. Everyone stay away from Jared. Best of luck tonight, my friend. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter, Jared Smith and Lauren Jabara. We'll see you tomorrow. 24
Happy
hours.
Tuesday.
Don't miss us too much. Let's get it. Let's bet it. Happy Tuesday.